What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you're having a good day. Absolutely stunning day today. Absolutely buzzing from yesterday as well. Whoever's tuned in, we got Ryan in the chat straight away with Oi Oi. How are you, mate? Hopefully you're having a good day. Hopefully well, bit surprised from yesterday's. Still obviously buzzing about the result yesterday. Absolutely brilliant for us. But we'll get into the game in a second. We'll see you at HDB. Hope you're well. I'm good, man. I'm all buzzing, to be honest. Still coming down from a high from yesterday. Dale, afternoon, DB and all. Foley and Ryan and Dale all in at the chat at the moment. Hopefully all enjoying the day. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, absolutely stunning game. Well, do you know what? I'll say stunning result instead. Stunning result, because we're going to get into the game. Obviously, yeah, I'm good, mate. Looking forward to the final. All right, okay, fair enough. Well, listen, look, there's not a lot to get into, but we will, obviously, I don't know if there's any, my boy was mascot yesterday, so yeah, awesome day. Oh, nice, Dale, nice. Awesome, man. That's good to hear, man. I always wanted, when I was a kid, I always wanted to do the mascot thing, but never got an opportunity, so yeah. It was a bit different back then, so yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully it was all good. Good experience. What is the experience like now? Is it like you go straight in, like obviously a certain time, meet all the players and stuff like that? Or he must enjoyed it. Did he get any goodies? Any signed shirt, any boots, anything like that? It's actually a really nice day today. Flipping it, 2 days in a row. Jesus Christ, it's actually really nice. Yeah. What are you thinking, people? Was it yeah, obviously it was definitely a great day yesterday for sure. But you know, unfortunately for Pompey, for Portsmouth fans, it wasn't great. I think they actually got relegated yesterday. I'm not too sure. No, they didn't. Well, why are people saying they got relegated? It's just fucking stupid, man. Wish I was a mascot when I was younger. Would probably be weird if I rocked up in a full kit now. Probably, you never know. I know the player who plays for Aston Villa at the moment, who used to play for Liverpool and Fulham, Harvey Elliott, he was a mascot at QPR. He was, yeah. Lol rhymes. Foley. Jesus Christ. Holding hands with fucking Ilya Share or something like that. Jesus Christ. So yeah. Anyway, listen, let's get into this. You know, I would say there's a lot to get into, but I think right now, today, not only Sheffield Wednesday guaranteed. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I don't know why everyone on social media is saying, oh, Portsmouth are relegated. They're still safe, in my opinion. Look, they're 40 point, obviously, but, you know, from a disappointing game to yesterday. Dale says, yeah, heading about 1:30ish, and yeah, kids do all sorts. Be chatted to all players and did some drill. Nice, man. No, obviously, hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully it was a good experience. But yeah, man, hopefully all positive for that one, man. But yeah, obviously, as everyone knows, QPR beat Portsmouth yesterday live at the Matrade Stadium at 3 o'clock. 6-1. Goals from Smith, Colley and Kone. Obviously 2 goals to Swift, 2 goals to Colley, 2 goals to Kone. Portsmouth did score with Swift 38 minutes into the game, making it obviously a goal there. Loads of photos and gifted a boot bag. Nice, man. Absolutely buzzing for that. I bet he's buzzing. Yeah, so honestly, what I would say is this. Listen, look, with the season that we've had, I think the result is absolutely stunning for us. You know, it's one of them things where we haven't seen anything like a scoreline at QPR for a while, for starters, and I'm hoping this is like a wake-up call to Julian for certain players to be given a chance, such as Colley, such as certain others. You know, I personally think, you know, in my opinion, it wasn't the greatest of games from us, but the game plan looked exactly like he did against Hull City. You know, if you look at the stats of the game, Portsmouth were all over us, you know, but they weren't finishing their chances. You know, whether we say that to whether that was like a great defensive ability from us, or we were just brilliant at just holding on to the ball and getting it up there on the counter attack and looking for those great passes that we've been wanting to do all season. So yeah, 30 says, gotta say, saw the highlights and Vale contributed to almost every goal. Told you, man, he's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. So yeah, the performance wasn't pretty, but we're clinical, which made the result what it is. Yeah, 100%. We were clearing 11 shots. Listen, look, that's what I was getting into. You know, it was definitely clinical for sure. But like I said, I'll get into that in a second. But first things first, Portsmouth were all over us. Look, I said it in the previous show, they're gonna be controlling the ball a lot from the back, and they did get it into our area a lot of the time. But it's so bad when, you know, we've been in this scenario before as well, where expected goals is so high, possession is so high, total shots is so high for them, but you're not being clinical or finishing your chances. Like, Portsmouth's accurate passes were higher than ours, for crying out loud. But honestly, you know, this is why I love the game, because stats mean fuck all sometimes, and it's the honest truth. You know, you could be the best team in the world, have amazing stats, and just get outdone by a very good tactic from a coach. And like I said, I feel like we played the same game against Hull. We did when we played Hull away, where we won that game, where we took our chances clinically, and we also took the opportunities really well, where we counterattacked and passing through to the final third to our final three was really good. So yeah, players for us were very good with through balls yesterday, 100%. I honestly believe Morgan at the start wasn't great, but there were some passes that were brilliant. Harvey Vale contributed really well. Paul Smith, Colley, Kone was a bit weird, but yeah. But yeah, like I was saying, Portsmouth dominated us completely. They controlled the game, so shoutouts to them for sure. But like I said, sometimes dominance in a game is not going to win you games. You know, they were attacking at most. As you can see, the momentum of theirs was very high. They had their chances, but just couldn't finish them. You know, the first goal that they scored, obviously, in my opinion, you know, everyone has their own opinion on it. For me, it was kind of like, you know, when a keeper's against the sun and they haven't got any hat and there's players in the way, yeah, it was a very, very soft goal. But at the end of the day, when it goes into the real low post like that, majority of the time the keeper's not going to get it. And that's pretty much why he didn't get it. Would I blame Joe Walsh? I don't think I will, because I'm not a blaming guy like that on keepers that much. I'd personally say, yet again, certain things would need to be fixed with defensive issues from there. But I personally also say we did really well to kind of bounce back from something that we've been going through all season with defensive issues. So yeah, you know, we filled out, well, we said in the previous show what the key players was to look out for. You know, Devlin was very, very good still. He very marked up very well. And that the thing was as well, what I've realized is this, you know, our players, like, obviously we could say that they're shit, whatever, you know, but they were really good yesterday. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, you know, Kone was, I wouldn't say it was phenomenal, but he played a lot better game where he looked more like when Burrell was on the pitch. He made some good decisions, held the ball pretty well in certain times, and I felt like he started to wake up a lot more when in the second half. You know, I think Kone played brilliant. You know, he did obviously score late, I'm not going by over his goals, why he played so brilliant. I'm more going with how he physically performed in that game. It was really well played by him. I will say that. I know strikers are there to score goals, but he did a phenomenal performance yesterday for holding up the ball and playing it to certain players yesterday. So shouts to him. But yeah. The goals came from obviously in the first 7 minutes, Portsmouth, where Harvey Vale, I'll be honest, I wouldn't count it as an assist to him, but I personally say that it come off obviously a Pompey player and landed straight into Portsmouth's feet on the edge of the box. Now, obviously everyone knows I kind of got annoyed with Portsmouth why he took a touch, but I guess the touch did the trick. You know, he shot the ball, it took a deflection, and it went into the top corner, the right of the keeper. Keeper was never getting that for sure, and it was a brilliant goal. Portsmouth, we all know what he does on the pitch. We know he's a brilliant player, and when he plays like that, when he shifts into the middle to get the ball, he seems to score a lot of goals from there. So he's done really well. Honestly, he done really well yesterday. Then obviously we went 2-0 up with Collie, an assist from Portsmouth. It was. I believe Harvey Vale got involved in that as well, for the ball to Portsmouth. But then Collie took a shot, and it was a very weird one because it wasn't powerful whatsoever. It was just very well placed, and he didn't look up whatsoever. He just took the shot like he knew where the goal was anyway, and it literally took me off guard. Where, wow, okay, it went in. Jesus, like, I know Collie is really good at finishing, but the goal was phenomenal, honestly. The goal was phenomenal. We could say it was fluky, whatever, but it was still phenomenal, in my opinion. For the distance and how he placed it, really well played. You know, it reminded me a little of how a Delta Rap would shoot. So, yeah. I think Collie done phenomenal to score that goal. Well deserved. Portsmouth obviously with assist. Then 29 minutes, Portsmouth scored his second goal of the day, making it 3-0. And as again, like I said, he seems to do this thing where he scores. When he does score, it's from the middle. And he did a run, and Harvey Vale saw that run. And this is why I've been saying all season why I think Julian is going to be a success at QPR. Is because it's what we've been missing with the players that we have, right? And this is why I wanted to keep Salah, because this is the way Salah plays. Now, if you saw obviously the third goal, the way Paul Smith ran through the middle and the through ball from Harvey Vale, the way it was, this is how Salah scores goals at other clubs. And if you've watched Salah before in the past or whatever, this is how he performs so well. You know, he scores goals in a way where he wants the ball gifted to him in an area where he can run onto it. And Paul Smith done that yesterday. And this is what I was saying about the start of the season, when this is stuff that we saw at the start. When we wanted to score goals on the attack, we saw the runs instead of Kone standing as a deep line forward. And obviously, they saw Paul Smith on the run and through balled it to him. Excellent ball, excellent vision, excellent run by Paul Smith. And he kept going and he tucked it into the bottom corner. It was a great finish. But this is what I've been saying and why I've been so excited at the start of the season, why I like Julian. Is because for some reason, we've been missing this threat up front where the goals and the way we score. It's all nice where obviously we score goals from the middle, whether it's a poaching goal, whatever. But I want to see good passing through to our strikers or whoever runs up to the ball and go from there. That's how you're going to score goals, really. And that's why I would really have preferred Salah to stay at the club, because that's how he plays. And this is why I've been going on about it all season. And we've been missing it for God knows how long. And it's happened yesterday. Paul Smith, if he does play more like that, I guarantee he'll get more goals. You know, we saw it in the start of the season from Paul Smith before the whole rotation change of certain players wanting to play. And obviously the bit of form dropped. And Paul Smith has been doing that start of the season where he's been running in the middle, running through the middle and scoring these goals. And this is how he should be playing. And this is why I said he's a lot better on the left than the right. When he's on the left, he performs so much better because he's right-footed. If we're going to score goals with him, I'm telling you right now, left... You know, we talk about whipping crosses and all that, cool. It's okay for a left back or whatever. But with a left midfielder, if you want him to score goals, you need him a right foot to be on the left so he can run down the middle and do his thing. And put him on his strongest foot. if you're putting a left-footed player on the left side attack, it can be sometimes hard for him. But personally, I still think that's why Portsmouth is doing so well, is because he's on that left and he's doing things where Harvey Vale spots him for the runs, and we're using his pace to basically score goals. You know, he's got heart, Portsmouth. He's been at the club before, and he's been at the club for a long time. You know, so yeah, I'm not surprised about what he's doing at this club at the moment. So yeah, but shout out to Harvey Vale as well, obviously, being involved in all of this stuff that he's doing, you know, at the club. You know, I'm a big fan of Harvey Vale. Everyone knows this. And he's just killing it right now. Honestly, he's just so much killing it. But from there, before half time, obviously, John Swift with that goal, making it 3-1. And then, obviously, second half came. And we all said the same thing in the chat, where we don't want to see us drop. It's that simple. And it did happen for the first 10 minutes, where we dropped. And we allowed Portsmouth to play their game. They made some subs. Obviously, we made a sub at 50 minutes of Jonathan Varane coming off for Hayden. I don't know if it was to do with injury or tactical change. But, obviously, Robert was very pissed with it, where, oh god, here we go, we're going to hold back, now we're going to sit back. But we did that for the first 10 minutes of the game, and when Varane came on, it kind of killed the game a little bit, where we were sitting back a little bit, for sure. But then we had that glimpse of light from Ryan Colley, we did, where he touched the ball really well, got around the player, yet again, got into the box like he did against Sheffield Wednesday at home, and his finishing is so crucial to us winning this game. Honestly, he's such a brilliant player. He finishes so well, and he made it 3-4-1 for us, you know. And that, from there, that's when it kind of woke up, where, right, okay, we need to do more, you know. And we did. We looked so superb after that, even though we was getting out possessed and stuff like that. But we looked really better on the attack, we did yesterday. And that's what I've wanted to see since the Leicester City game, I would say, when we played them at home. You know, we haven't seen this in a while, and it was really good to see. You know, some teams it's going to be brilliant for, some teams going to be bad. The only thing I would say is Portsmouth were really bad on the day, really bad, you know. And whether we say that that's a reason why we won yesterday. But yeah, Colley, clinical finisher, needs to play more, and yeah, go from there. And I'm hoping Julian sees that a lot more. Now, like I said, around 70 minutes was where Poku was obviously going to come on. Poku came on for Smith. Smith obviously was happy, didn't mind. Hattrick really wasn't really fast. Poku came on, Jay Clark-Salt came on for Amadou and Benge. I'm not sure why that sub was made, but Ronnie shifted out to the right with Clark-Salt and Dunn in the middle. And obviously Davis on the left. Davis had a phenomenal game yesterday. Honestly, very much better from him. I really enjoyed watching him. That was kind of like what we saw at the start of the season from him. Absolutely brilliant player he was yesterday. But obviously then Esquidina came on, I believe, for Ryan Colley. We gave Ryan Colley less. Daniel Benny came on for Davis as well to rest them players. And he wanted to play the youngsters. Obviously, we're 4-1 up. Give them a go, see what they do. And then Esquidina had found some brilliance in the first 3 minutes, where he got into the box. Was it a penalty? Listen, look, it was very light. I agree with what the commentators are saying. It was very light, for sure. But when you have a player like Esquidina that can do stuff and be dramatic, it makes it look a lot even better, you know. And I think it was more the dramatics of him that caused that penalty, and we needed it. Listen, look, we've been fucked over all season with penalties, you know, where they're so light and stuff like that, and we deserved one to come to us, and we did. And shout out to Esquidina for doing that. And obviously there was only going to be one player to take it, you know. It was, like I said, it was a very light penalty, but there was only one player to take it, and that was going to be Kone for sure. Kone, if he scored, I did say he would score again. I did say that. And the penalties woke him up. He took a very good finish. He scored it, made it 5-1. And then 1 minute later, Harvey Vale gets the ball, sees the run from Kone. I personally thought it was going to be offside. I honestly thought it was going to be offside. And then what a finish from Kone it was to make it 6-1. It's 2 goals on the day for him. Absolutely brilliant. Hopefully it motivates him and goes from there. Robert was buzzing about it, was loving it. Kone, yeah, it was just really good finish. Keeper was as Foley says about the keeper there. Keeper was terrible, to be honest. So yeah, but it was good finish from Kone, 100%. I loved it. I'm sure he tried to do. I'm sure he did a backflip, like Paul Smith on celebration. So yeah, but yeah, great performance. Obviously we had a couple of opportunities after that. We wanted to keep going for our 7th, but yeah, it finished 6-1. Look, we deserved that result, honestly. I think a result like that it was well needed after the season we've had. You know, we've had appalling results such as Coventry beating us at their ground and some others as well. And we really deserved this, honestly. You know, it wasn't the greatest performances from QPR, but the plan was kept from Julian, I'm guessing. The subs were great, and it was good to see certain players play. You know, and certain players score. So, positive note, it's 2 out of 2 games or wins, 2 big games that we all thought we was gonna probably be struggling against, and yeah, it's a good show for us. And positively, we go into the international break 2 good games in form. You know, we got 2 weeks rest depending on obviously who's going out on international break. You know, Vale, Jimmy Dunn are probably going to be Republic of Ireland and go from there. But personally, it's a good thing to end off before internationals. Is, you know, we get a break. You know, we've got a tough game against Watford at home after us, and let's stay positive and get into that game, and hopefully we get a win from that as well. You know, hopefully we get to see some injuries come back. Hopefully there's some news on Elias Scher. Hopefully there's news on Burrell and Madsen, and obviously the new signing. And if that is the case, we do get some players back at Watford. I tell you right now, I reckon we could possibly win some great games before the end of the season, and hopefully finish top 10. Play ratings, the only bad rating was obviously Hayden. I think that was obviously because obviously he came off. Walsh 7.6, Davis 7.1, Edwards 8.1, Dunn 7.0, and Bengay 7.0, Vale 8.7. 2 assists, great goal involvements. Morgan, a better performance from him, I would say, 7.0. Hayden 6.7. Paul Smith got man of the match of a 9, 1 assist, 2 goals. 8.8 for Collie, 2 goals there, and Kona 8.6, 2 goals there. So all around, really good performance from everyone. Poku obviously came on 5.9. Clark-Sol and Jonathan Varane obviously in the 6s. But yeah, with what I'm seeing on FOTMob with injuries, Madsen is saying hamstring injury early April. Obviously out of the rest of the season. Dembele early April for Burrell, hamstring injury. Elias Scher, apparently there's a hamstring injury there. So that is quite news. Early April they're saying in that. And they're saying Lakesh could be back mid-April, but as far as I'm concerned, he's going to be out for the rest of the season. So yeah. But ending off there, really, superb result for us. And yeah, that's all we can say right now. We will have Watford next. I will try to do some stuff before, obviously, during the international break, just to basically keep us live and active on YouTube. We might do something. We don't know what's going on yet, but we'll see what happens. Let's have a look at the comments anyway, because this one's been a big one for us today. Right, where did we end off? Ryan says we defended really well also. I think pretty much really we did. I wouldn't say it was the greatest performance in defense, but I think we stopped their shots pretty well. You know, obviously Joe Walsh was saved a lot of the times. So yeah. Photo says Swift and Devlin not bad players. We could nick either of them if they go down. Listen, look, I would like obviously Devlin at that club, at our club. I think he's a very good youngster. I think he looks very exciting. He does, you know. But going from there, alright. So if they go down, we should definitely look to pick up that Devlin. I would say so for 100%. Stop barking. Stop barking. To be Walsh, it did go through a couple of players for their goal. Listen, look, there was a blockage, you know. For what I'm looking at the replays, the vision there with the sun in his eyes is going to be difficult. So yeah, those type of goals are going to happen. It's difficult for him to save that. But on positively, I would say this. The Joe Walsh free kick save was brilliant. You know, I looked at it in other angles. Yeah, it wasn't the best free kick technically, but for him to get low and clear it the way he did with that much power was brilliant. I'm not gonna lie, he did really well for that. But still, what not? Listen, I think Nardi's gone. I don't think he's injured. We've seen him as a backup. He is. He comes to the stadiums and stuff like that. But I think he's gone in the summer. Stop. But yeah, I think he's gone in the summer. I think Nardi is gone. I don't want to see him gone, but it looks like he's gone. Ryan says overall Walsh is very promising, but we need a number one in the summer. I think Joe Walsh needs more experience on loan because he hasn't really been at a team on loan. I think he's got talent. I think he's very... Hang on. Stop. I think he's got talent. I think he's a very player that could do really well in League One, but in the Championship, it might be a bit difficult for him right now. But he has shown his quality. I will say that. Overall, like I said, there's only one keeper. If I'm going into the Championship market for one keeper, it's probably going to end up being Jorgensen from Stoke. So yeah. Coney on the defense grinds my... I don't like Coney in the defense, but he actually did okay when it came down to chances on that. Philly says the keeper was shockingly looked like he was sweating. Swatting, sorry. Their keeper wasn't great, honestly. You know, to get 6 goals against you, you know, it does demotivate you. Right, definitely Foley goal should have never went in. I think most of the goals never should have gone in, but they did. So at the end of the day, as long as they go in, I'm happy. Next season, would you give Salah another chance? I would, 100%. But I don't think he's going to get a chance. Looking at what I'm seeing in Germany at the moment where he's at, I don't think he's going to get a chance, personally. I think we're going to let him go or send him, sell him. And I personally also think that we're not going to go in for any strikers unless we sell someone. I think we're going to look more into attacking midfield. I think a right back, a left back, and attacking midfield is the way to go. Well, I think personally, we're going to see a lot of revamp in that midfield this season. I think we worked a lot on striker and defense in this season, and I think midfield is going to be a big revamp for Julian. A lot. So yeah. Paul Smith is a good player and loves the club. 100%. Listen, I've been saying, listen, him and Ryan Mannings, when they both came to the club, they played for the badge. They were really good. And this is why I like Irish players, is because they play football because they don't care about money. They want first team football. They want to be a part of something, you know? And that's why I think certain Irish players are so brilliant at the game. Look at Roy Keane, for example. You know, the toughest guy on the pitch, right? And he didn't care about money. He didn't care about women. He didn't care about fancy shit. He just wanted to fucking destroy players on a pitch and win trophies. So yeah. QPR and Paul Smith, only downfall was his end product. That has improved a hell of a lot. Quality player. Like I said, he plays better on the left. I've been saying it all season. He seems to play better on the left. I always got worried when Smith celebrates he's going to injure himself one of these days. it is very worrying. His celebration is very worrying, but it's good to see that he has it under control. So yeah. Foley says, Collie, yeah, I agree. Collie needs more starts. He does. I think he works well with Kone. And I think he will work well with Burrell as well. Ryan says, didn't see much of Poku yesterday, but that's okay. Listen, Poku, the reason why we didn't see much of Poku, I think it was majority because of the side we put him on. When we put him on that side with Escudina, we're not going to pass it that much on that side. You know, I think he was valid into that creative part where the penalty was conceded. But yeah, Benny always looks lost on the pitch. The thing with Benny is that I feel like the formation for him, he's more of a winger than a midfielder. And I personally think he's more better as higher up the pitch. But he is an exciting player, and I think he will do well at QPR eventually. And I think a loan move will do him next season. I think the only reason why he hasn't been sent on loan is because of injuries. So yeah, definitely not a penalty. Ryan says, yeah, that was a soft pen. It was. I agree 100%. You know, but we deserved it. You know, after what the season we've had been given with penalties, keeper should have got to that pen. Mate, Joe Walsh should have gotten some penalties as well, to be honest. Kone's second goal was a proper striker's goal, low driven, bottom corner, and quality. Right, this is what we've been missing from him, is because he is a clinical finisher. You saw it against Wrexham, you've seen it in certain games. He does do it, but it depends on how he gets the ball and uses his strength. Like I said, when he gets the ball delivered straight to his feet, he doesn't do great with it. If it's through ball to him, he does really brilliantly. Colley's second goal was probably the best. I would... Do you know what? I would probably say... I would probably say Smith's goal. The second goal. I really like that goal. I like very good vision from players to see. You know, Vale done really well with assisting goals yesterday. Yeah. What for next? Hopefully Burrell back in training soon. Fingers crossed. Hopefully he's back in the next couple of weeks. You know, I don't expect him to play against Watford, but I do expect him to play sometime this season before we finish. So yeah. Do you think we'll get an injury update? We will, 100%. If we don't, then the fans are going to get pissed. You know, we need an injury update. We need updates at the club. We need to understand what's going on, and we need to know what's going on with his share. You know, if he's doing community service, I know they were very quiet about that. If he's doing community service, then cool. But at the end of the day, I don't know what's going on. So yeah, I know it's very quiet for it. Jimmy Dunn looks massive compared to other players. Foley says, either that or Ports players are short. Jimmy Dunn's just a beast, mate. That's all it is. I like to sign a natural 10. I think Vale can play 10. I personally think Vale can play 10. I think Kieran Morgan can play 10. But it depends on what Julian wants in a player. You know, if Julian wants a 10 to be like Ilya Sher or a player to be like Harry Kane. But if we're going to play 2 up front, we need a 10 up front, not a 10 in midfield. You know? I personally think Kone might be that 10. And you play Burrell or Collie and go from there. I think Norwich will be by field. Hopefully we get 2 to 1. He will go to Norwich for sure. You know, he's really enjoying his time at Norwich. He is. Unless he gets promised playing time. But I think with Field, he will always make the decisions that's right for his family. You know, and if Norwich is right for his family, he will go do it. You know? So, yeah, if he's enjoying Norwich and he's get guaranteed first time at Norwich, he'll go to Norwich for sure. You know, we do miss him. I miss him for sure. I think he's a cracking player. He's been at the club for a long time. And maybe it's time for a change for him. But, yeah, goes from there. I think I said who's man of the match. Personally, I would give it to Vale. But Paul Smith got, obviously, man of the match. To be honest, Vale... sorry, people. Jeez. Yeah, I'd personally say Paul Smith, definitely, yeah. What am I saying? Vale, it was cracking yesterday. I'm just saying because I'm a big fan of his. But Paul Smith deserves it for sure. What first team players can you see leaving? Oh, Jesus Christ, great question. In the summer, Salah, Nardi. I don't think Davis will come back. I think Kieran Morgan might go out on loan, personally. I think that. I think Steve Cook, if he doesn't sign a new contract in the summer, he's gone. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot more outgoings than more incomings. You know, I think personally, if we're going to, like I said, the plan is usually this: we bring development players in first, then we focus on free agents, and then if we need signings, we will go in and get the money out and the checkbook and bring them in. But also depending on where we finish in the league. I think if we finish in the top 10, I think we will get a couple of players in. If we finish below top 10, I think we only get 2 players in that are first team quality. So yeah, whether that's a right back and a left back, or you know, go from there. I think right back, left back, and midfield needs a whole revamp. You know, if we don't play Isaac, if we don't play any youngsters during the summer, to see how they do, I would personally say a revamp. I really want to see Emerson starting on that bench next season. I think he's a great talent. I think he has potential to become another Eze type of player. I'm not saying he will become Eze, but I feel like he has shown certain aspects of his finishing ability, which is great. But I think personally, I would like to see Tylon Smith given an opportunity to see what he does. Will Key for sure. Isaac. I think I like to see this 16-year-old in the sub bench to see how he does. This what's his name? The Colombian guy. Trujillo, whatever his name is. I like to see him see opportunities. But I think personally, left back, right back, maybe keeper, and a whole revamp on the midfield, I would say. You know, Varane might go, you never know. And yeah, pretty much from there. But that's pretty much what I think, personally. I think if we get the right amount of money, they will accept certain bids for certain players. So yeah. That's what I think. I would like to see Devlin get signed for sure from Portsmouth. Whatever happens, whether it's relegation or what. I haven't actually checked the free agents, who's going to be a free agent. But I think right now, I would like to see Scott. I don't know if Scott Twine will be a lot of money. But Devlin, Scott Twine is something that I really would like to see at the club. But I also want to see the Stoke keeper at the club as well. They're the 3 signings that I would say will help improve us. You know, you got creativity there. You got a good goalkeeper. You got a good right back. Left back wise, I'd personally say if Ziyad Lakesh can stay fit, he will be in that front first 11. But I also think we need Madsen with someone in there as well. Did you see we was linked to a goalkeeper? What, yesterday, or over the summer? Because I don't know. I actually don't know. I'm not too sure. But yeah, there's only one keeper that I'm really interested in, and that's him, really. So yeah. We actually have the FA Cup game today as well, so that'll be interesting. We might even play Tottenham next season. You never know. We might even play Tottenham next season. So yeah. But do you know what? That's actually a good question. What I'll say is this: question of the day. Put your comments below, not in the chat, but when the live stream ends. What positions do you think we need sorting out, and what players do you think we should bring in? That's the date. That's what I'm saying. John McCracken. I've not heard of him. John McCracken. Let's have a look. John. Was it John McCracken? Scottish goalkeeper. Is linked to a trio of clubs. He's a young Scottish goalkeeper. He's 20. No, he's not. He's 20. He's not young. I wouldn't say young. He's 26. I think he is. Is he 26? Yeah, he's 26. So yeah, QPR are one of the clubs interested in him. Maybe he's good. I'll have to have a look at him. But yeah. But yeah. We're going to leave it there for today. We've been going on for 40 minutes of the match reaction. I try not to go over a certain amount. I do. Hang on, give me a second. Oh, Jesus Christ. I keep dropping my thing. Yeah. Anyway, right. Put that comment in below after the video. What you think we should be signing. What type of player, position-wise. Stuff like that. Just to keep it interesting. But apart from that, we're going to leave it there for today. QPR have demolished Portsmouth 6-1 yesterday in this match preview. Absolutely stunning result. We'll be back hopefully sometime this week with maybe like a podcast. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But we'll definitely be live with our preview shows straight after the international break. Let's see what England can do. I'm not a big fan of Tuchel for England, but we'll see what happens. Well, it's going to be a World Cup in the summer. We might do something over for the World Cup for England. We'll see what happens on the channel. But we'll see what happens. We might even get some people in. Like I said, I've arranged some stuff and go from there. But if you enjoyed the stream, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to. It helps the channel a lot if you hit the like button. I know we've been killing it with the likes over the watch-alongs. If we do the same thing, much appreciated. England watch-alongs, I'm not too sure about that, but we'll see what happens. Maybe, you never know, it might kick off things. We'll see what happens over the World Cup and we'll go from there. But apart from that, have a great day. I know everyone's smashing it. I know everyone's loving it. We've ended on a positive and before the international break, and that's what I wanted to see. But yeah, peace, love, positivity to all you guys. Enjoy, obviously, the rest of your day, and we'll be back soon. If you obviously get a message from me, it's probably because I've set up something on the Discord to join and go from there. Have a lovely day. Cheers, you guys in the chat. Foley, Ryan, as always. Dale, hopefully have a good day and evening as well. And all the rest of you who tuned in. I will catch you very soon.